Welcome to ARW. I'm Harold, and this is another VEVOR review, this time of the PAS 30A portable utility pump. Comes with a manual and lots of instructions in there. There's probably 10 pages of instructions, so that should tell you everything you need to know. But before we get into the pump, we're going to talk about some things you should know about pumps in general. Alright, this will help you to understand my dumb explanation and all the other things about pumps, or some of the things about pumps. Okay? Okay, pumps have quite a few different parameters, and the most common pump is what they call a centrifugal pump. It's got a round impeller with a little fan blades like on it that sling the water out to the outside of the pump housing. There's also positive displacement pumps. They've got a little piston in there that squeezes the water out through the valves, and that one has to be used carefully because they can break their own housing. You build up enough pressure to break valves or housings or whatever. So the centrifugal pump is the safest and most common used in the industry and most common used everywhere. And there's a lot of things to know about. I'm going to say, what is a suction lift pump configuration? In a suction lift configuration, a centrifugal pump takes suction from a source of liquid located below the pump center line. All centrifugal pumps must be primed prior to operation. They can't be run dry. However, once a pump and the suction piping leading to the pump are flooded, then it will be able to pump at its maximum head pressure. Okay, so self-priming pumps are commonly used in suction lift configurations. Self-priming pumps are designed with a large reservoir that remains full even when the pump is not in operation. When the pump begins to operate, air is drawn out of the suction piping and pushed out of the discharge. Once all air has been drawn out of the suction piping, the pump begins to produce flow. It's important to know that even self-priming pumps cannot run dry, but must have their casing filled with water prior to operation. Standard centrifugal pumps can also be applied in a suction lift configuration, but in order to do so, a priming mechanism must be used to evacuate air out of the suction piping and pump casing prior to energizing the pumps. They're trying to tell you, don't run the pump dry. There's got to be some water in it. Otherwise, it'll overheat and you'll warp the impeller or melt the seals or whatever. Now then, let me see here if I can find the right thing. I'm reading off a piece of paper here. Alright. Pressure portion for the square shaft speeder impeller diameter. We've already been through that. Alright, then there's a couple of important things. How high your pump suction is above the liquid level. This pump shouldn't be more than 10 feet above the liquid level, and it can pump, I think, 25 feet above the pump discharge. I'll have to look that up in the book, but I'll tell you in a minute if that's right. Now then, if you have a pump where the motor and the pump itself are separate from each other and they're shaft to shaft like that, then you've got to align them if you want them to run right. If you don't have them in alignment, they're not going to run right, and you're going to wear out either the bearings in the motor or you're going to wear out the pump. So pump is alignment on a two-piece pump where the motor and the pump are separate. Alignment is very important. Alright? Now I haven't gone through everything here, but I have mentioned that you got to prime the pump. Suction lift is how far below the pump that it can pull water uphill into the pump, and discharge head, pump head discharge, is how far above the pump that it can push water. Alright? And water weighs about a half a pound per inch, I think, something like that, as you go up. So the weight of that water gets heavier the higher up that you go. Alright? Now then, in the Vevor manual that comes with this thing, it's got all the specifications. I think they're in the back instead of the front. Let's see. Yes. Voltage frequencies 120 to 120 volts, 60 hertz. Current is 2.3 amps. You can measure that clamp-on meter if you don't mind opening up the input wire and separating the two wires. Power is 1/10 horsepower. Maximum flow is 360 gallons per hour. Maximum head lift is 46 feet. The inlet outlet diameter is 3/4 of an inch. 34. It's got 18 AWG power cords, 6 foot long. And what you can do to hook this guy up is you put the short hose that comes with it on the suction side, and you make sure before you put that hose on that you put the little hose gasket in the connector. They've given you a hose gasket. Use it, and you get a lot better suction. All right. On the discharge side, hook your own garden hose on there and let her roll. Now I'm going to try to take this own garden hose and take this thing and throw it over the roof and see how much distance I can get. I can't get it over the whole roof because it's too tall and too far, but I can get it over part of the roof. So we're going to demonstrate it like that. That ought to be fun. Okay, here's what comes in the box. You get this guy here to use as a suction pickup, keep trash out of the suction. This will go on the bottom of the pump if you want to lift the pump up with it. I don't see any need for it for me. You get one of these guys right here. You see this washer in there? You get a washer for the hose. You get here an extra impeller and a set of brushes and a gasket. So looks to me like a pretty good bit of spare parts to go with the pump. So now we're going to hook this pump. This guy doesn't screw in, by the way. You just shove it up there and turn it and it'll work its way into the bottom. Alright, this end screws in, and all you got to do with it is put it on the suction side, and just like any water hose, just screw it on till that gasket gets tight, the one that I told you not to forget to put on. There. Now we're going to go outside, and I'm going to get a water hose, and I'm going to get a bucket, and we're going to put the stuff in the bucket, and then we're going to try to pump it over part of the roof and see if it'll do it. Okay, so we're going to see what we've got set up here. There's the electrical outlet. There's the hose. I'm sorry. There's the electrical outlet. There's the wire. It's going to be plugged into it. Coming up over the top of the building there is the water hose that we're going to watch pump water. Okay, now around to the side here, we've got the wire running around here, hooked up. There's the pump and the hose coming out of the bucket. That's the suction hose that comes with it, with a little strainer. And I'm going to turn this guy on. And it may run over and it may pump it dry. So what we're going to do right here, I'm going to set this guy up so that in the first place he can watch that hose, and once he gets to look at that hose, we'll go around the side and look at the bucket and see if the level's coming up or down. I believe this thing said it would pump 45 feet up. 45 feet ahead. Okay, I had the hose on, the suction hose on the discharge and the discharge hose on the suction. So let's take a look at it now. I believe you can see the water coming down there. and it's around on the taking suction on the bucket, just siphoning it up over the side and running down just right there. Now that's about probably 10, 11 feet, maybe 12. Yeah, I guess it's 12 feet anyway. And it's supposed to be able to push this water 45 feet, and I think it can. Yeah, I think it can go 45 feet uphill, but it'll probably stop right around there. Let's go around and take a look at the bucket. You can see there's a lot of water coming down there, and the only thing filling that bucket is just that faucet. It's just coming in the bucket faster than I'm taking it out. And it's running like crazy, just like it ought to. Considering I tried to flow the water in reverse, I think that's pretty good bit of flow there. And that will say that the pump is capable. And the fact they're flowing it backwards got the pump a little bit hot, but it survived. So I think that this pump passes the test. Want you guys, if you need an auxiliary pump, take a look at it. Oh, and as usual, the link will be down below, and it'll show you where to buy it. Okay? You guys take it easy.